All right, and welcome to today's episode of It's All About the Media podcast, guys. I'm so sorry about um any late episodes that are coming out. No, time's just tough for me. I'm on my last few months of school, and yeah, it's just a lot right now. So I'm sorry if you're getting episodes late in advance. I still haven't even put out one about blockbusters, which I hope will be out soon. But hopefully, I can get it done before Christmas. If not, it's just gonna be some weird time, whatever. But to try to get things rolling and to kind of like I don't know, kind of keep up with the timing, but also like try to get stuff out before 2023 ends. And there's a chance this episode's gonna be premiered in February 23. Hopefully not. But yeah, today's episode, I'm just going to talk about a few horror films that I saw this year. As we're about a month and a half away from 2023, and I haven't really done much because of personal stuff, work, school, trying to get a documentary rolling, and yeah. So, like, I do like horror films. I haven't liked them when I was a kid. It was never much of a thing, but I've grown to appreciate them after I graduated high school. And yeah, there are a few horror films I've seen. However, I'm going to confess that when I got a studio at a school, so my school has a studio, and unfortunately, I won't be using that studio for much because I'll be graduating in a couple of months in May of 24, sadly not December of 23, but whatever. Anyway, I used that studio and I was talking about Scream, but again, because of time and stuff and money, I just couldn't. So, along with any horror films that I've seen this year, I'm just going to talk about Scream. Some that I've missed so far, I would say Evil Dead Rise, Renfield, Megan. I haven't seen Megan. I don't know if I'm ever going to see Megan. What else is out there? There are a few others like horror films, Skinamarink, which has it's a hit or miss for people who've ever seen Skinamarink. I haven't seen it yet, but it's a hit or miss one. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess and I guess this kind of helps me a bit. So because when I talked about Scream, I just talked about like the plots of every film, and y'all should know by now. I'm kind of terrible at explaining plots. I mean, when we were explaining, when Asus and I were explaining about summer blockbusters, you saw how much trouble we were in trying to explain the entire plot of a bunch of films, yada yada yada. So really, this one I'm just gonna give my thoughts on films, give a brief synopsis of it, and then if because some of these films that I've seen are films from series, so obviously Scream, which I'll start off with, and I'll talk about how it compares to everything else. So really, Scream 6 is really like it takes place in New York after the events of the fifth film, and I like the fifth film. And obviously, this one did not have Neve Campbell in it, and obviously didn't have this one doesn't have David Arquette in it because if you remember, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the recent Scream film before this one, Dewey dies, he gets killed, and of course, Neve Campbell, who plays Sydney throughout the films, she is not in this film because of financial stuff and all that. I mean, it comes to play how it happened later on this year because of the whole strikes and SAG deal. But yeah, now we're just stuck with the Carpenter sisters. If I can remember their names. A little side confession, guys. I don't really write down notes when I talk about when I'm about to do my episodes. I just talk out of my ass and just be like, okay, well, this is what we're gonna talk about. So obviously, Scream 6 this is also my first Scream film I ever saw in theaters. Because I really didn't get a chance to watch the recent film before this one. So, but yeah, okay. Their names are Samantha and Tara Carpenter, and of course, you got a few other characters that from the recent films, which were the brother sister. Hold on, I'm trying to find them. Sorry. Yeah, here it is. You got Mindy and Easton, who are the nieces and nephews of Randy Meeks. Randy Meeks being what's his name again? Jamie Kennedy's character from the first two films, who died in the second film. Again, all being hunted down by Ghostface, and then it kind of reveals in the end like who Ghostface is. And this is the first time in this film there are three Ghostface killers. But it also became predictable, but not too predictable. Like there were some shocks here and there. Obviously, Hayden Panettiere's character came back. When you watch it the first time, you're in shock. But when you watch it a couple of times, I've only watched it twice. yeah, it's nothing really surprises. You kind of now see it coming. But even then, even before even giving a second time watching, I mean, I didn't feel the same way about the that movie. Because you got to understand, this film is what I appreciate about this film is that it doesn't want to like talk about what's it's not going meta, you know, as the other films were. This film is just about all about more of revenge. Well, then again, the second film was about revenge, but it was also about revenge and meta. But the sixth film is not really meta. It's just more of like, you know, revenge or uncovering the truth and all that. And I'm excited for a seventh film, even though I have my thoughts on this film. However, as I'm recording this, Marisa Barrera, who plays Samantha in or Sam in 5 and 6, she got fired by the studio because of her thoughts on the whole Israel Palestine thing, and I have my thoughts too. Apparently, for some reason, if you have a thought, it has to be shared with one or the other. If not, you get canceled. Bullshit. Stupid. Either you have a thought and you can agree to disagree, but either way, and just my thought is I'm on the side of humanity. Both sides have innocent people getting killed, but yet only want to focus on one side or the other side. So that's where my thought is, really. She has a thought. She wanted to say ceasefire, but people are, for some reason, are not reading they're not reading the thing right. They're not reading the text or the mess or the tweet, whatever she's putting out there or whatever she said. I think like it was a tweet or something. People are just like misreading it, saying like, "Oh, you're on the side of Israel," or "You're what is it? You're anti-Semitic." I don't know. Okay, it's just like total BS. If you have a thought, people have thoughts. I mean, they're not going to be the same as yours. You got to accept that. But yeah, because of that, she got fired, and now. Just recently, when I just started about to redo this, started to record this, Jenna Ortega, who played Tara in the film, she left. She's not doing it anymore. So now we don't have any we don't have these two main actresses who the studio was using for we don't have these two new actresses or these two new leads for the series now. We don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen. They say it might be about Mindy Meek. I don't know. Maybe because like again, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what Scream's gonna do. All I know is that there is planned for a seventh film, and that it was gonna take place around Christmas time, which is ironic because like next year we get or let's be honest, when I release this, it's gonna be like February or March of 24. Either way, October of 24, we're getting Terrifier 3, which is going to be a horror film taking place on Christmas. And if you've seen the Terrifier films, I mean, you know how brutal that's gonna be. Like I've never seen the horror films, but I've seen a couple of like kill count episodes that I watch on the Dead Meat YouTube channel. And some of the Christmassy episodes are not brutal, but they are bloody. And if you know the Terrifier films, you know how brutal they get. I mean, like the spread eagle scene alone itself. I mean, guys, I know you guys some people are like, who's never heard of the Terrifier films and never seen them. And you hear me say spread eagle scene. Just ignore it, okay? Because like for those who know the Terrifier films and probably have seen it, I've never seen them, but I know about that scene. You know, just do yourself a favor. If you're not familiar with the movie or that scene in particular, don't bother watching it. But if curiosity gets to you, I'm just going to let you know. You can try to look it up on YouTube. You are never going to find it because it is brutal. It is like, it makes you throw up. Again, I haven't seen it, but my uncle saw it years ago before the second film came out. And he told me about it. And he never told me how graphic it was until I looked it up. Like I saw the kill count episode. And hearing that this scene goes on for 5 minutes, bro, like Christmas of 24 or October of 24. Yeah, I might be brave enough to watch the first two films, but yeah. But back to Scream. I didn't say I liked or I loved the sixth film. It was an alright film. You know what I mean? It doesn't match up to obviously the first film for me personally, and I like the first film. I met Matthew Lillard. I met him October of 2022, and he's such a nice guy. I got him an autographed picture for my sister for Christmas. She really loved it. But yeah, it's not a film I would be going back watching. You know, it's not like the other films. So Scream 6, I would rank it. So obviously Scream's going to be number 1 for me. Scream 2 is in second place. Scream 5 is third place. Scream 4 is in fourth place. Scream 3 is in fifth place. And then this one's just dead last in sixth place. But it doesn't mean like I hate the film. It's just like it's not its strongest it's not the strongest within it's in the series. It's not the strongest. So that's where I rank it. But people have their opinions about the film. But there is a seventh film, supposedly not Dewey, what's his name again? Stu from the first film, played by Matthew Lillard, is supposed to show up. But again, I don't know if we're getting a seventh film, or I heard we're getting I don't know. We're supposed to be getting a seventh film, but I don't know what's the deal going on. If we're even going to get Nev Campbell back. As of this recording, we don't know. Who knows, the day after this, we could probably get like a notification. But as of this recording, so people don't come at me for this one, especially as I'm telling you all of this late. But we don't know for sure. But I was a little bit disappointed as it being my first ever Scream film that I ever saw in theaters, but you know what? It is what it is. I'm not gonna complain about it. Yeah, I consider it more of like one of those popcorn movies. You know, you just want to watch a movie just for the heck of it. That's what it is for me. I'm gonna take a quick break right now because I already feel my throat getting tired. But this one is I would say so far this is better than the Scream episode I planned, and maybe who knows, I might do an entire Scream episode. But as for this one, I tried to do the entire rundown of all the films. It just wasn't working for me. This one works a lot better. But other than that, I'm gonna take a quick break right now, and yeah, we'll see where it goes from there. All right, and here we are with another series that I briefly saw, but you know what? I'm gonna talk about it anyway. It is Saw X. Now we know the Saw movies haven't had the best track record. I mean, and I've never tried to do a Saw episode just because of school and work. So, but I'm just gonna talk about this film in general. It's better than what we've gotten the past couple of years. I mean, it's got a 80 something percentile on Rotten Tomatoes. As of this recording, it could have dropped down to a 70 something, but I don't for sure know. But anyway, yeah, it's also like the only certified fresh film from the Saw films, because majority of them are like 50% to just pure rotten. Well, 50 is also rotten, but I don't know too much about the scoring of Rotten Tomatoes, but I know Saw, so let's talk into it. Yeah, it is pretty gruesome. It's not as bad as I would say in my personal thoughts. It's not as like gruesome as like so many of the past. So, but this film, it does humanize John Kramer, who we all know is the Jigsaw killer, portrayed by Tobin Bell. Obviously, that's one actor I hope to meet one day. But yeah, this film is it gives you, like I said, it humanizes John Kramer a lot because he was scammed because this film takes place like I think before Saw 2 or Saw 3, one of those. I think it was before Saw 2. And if you know like the entire story of Jigsaw, he gets diagnosed with a tumor, and he says he had a newfound on life, and which is why he makes all these practical torture porn. That's what it's called, by the way, guys, torture porn. Your flesh coming off games, and if you survive these games, then you're worthy of your life. And if you didn't, then obviously you just you weren't into it. You weren't dedicated to living. But obviously, people who survive these games aren't. Some will say, "Yes, I have a new look on life" or whatever. Others are just gonna say, "Yo, I just nearly got killed. All right, and I lost like a body piece because of it." That's Saw. That's pretty much it. Saw is more about revenge, really, because they conned John Kramer into saying, "Oh, we can get this tumor removed and yada yada yada. You just got to give us this amount of money." It's the same story usually here, especially because it takes place in Mexico. So no big surprise there. What does irk me is that like I'm gonna call her the villain in this film. She doesn't get what she deserves. In fact, she survives, but nearly. But there is supposed to be an 11th film coming out. I don't know when. I'll say this year just because I'm recording before 24, but it's probably going to come out during 24, beginning of 24. But either way, we're supposed to get a new film not in the not too distant future. Let's just put it like that. Amanda Young comes back, portrayed by the great Shawnee Smith. Another actress that I met. I meet a lot of celebrities. It's kind of addicting, but when you meet them, they're pretty cool. They're just surprising. She's pretty short. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. She is short. Like she is, I would say. So I'm around between 5'7" and 5'8" ish. I'm an average height guy. Well, no, average would be 5'10". I'm a close to average height guy, is what I'm gonna say. And she's I think 5'1". So she's short. She's just not that short. But she's a nice person. Really enjoy meeting her. It's just weird to see her with that weird bob cut or whatever you would call it. But yeah. It's an interesting film. I'll watch it again no matter what. I'll just let you know, like if you haven't seen this film and you see the poster, the scene with that poster, it's real, but it isn't real. I don't want to give too much spoilers into this film, but it's really cool and interesting. I haven't seen a lot of Saw films lately, so I really cannot rank this, but I will tell you it is top 2, maybe top 1, beating out the first Saw film, and I like the first Saw film. I do hope to meet Tobin Bell one day because he is 81 years old. Or yeah, he's 81 as of this recording. I don't think he turns 82 until like mid year. I don't know. He's in his early 80s, and you know it's one of those celebrities you really gotta meet. You know, because there's a celebrity I got to meet as a recording of 23 the year of 23, and I just decided last minute not to, and now I'm gonna regret it. So if y'all want to know who I'm talking about, he plays Feeney in Boy Meets World. I know I'm going off topic a little bit just because just talking about it now, it's kind of yeah. So I'm talking about William Daniels, who again played Feeney. Reason why I'm making a regret now is because as of this recording, William Daniels is 96 years old, and yeah, he's close to 100. And we all know he doesn't have that long. It's I highly doubt he's gonna make another con appearance. So we're just I don't mean to be a bit Debbie Downer about it, but unless fate has it and he shows up at a convention, and I'll be like, you know what, first ticket to go meet him before that time comes. Just hoping on he clings on forever. But yeah, sorry about getting off topic. But back to the film. It's pretty short as the usual films are. It's gory, but not as gory as the other films are. I will be honest with you. I've never seen the Spiral, the Book of Saw with Chris Rock, so I have to see that film. That's also why I don't have a ranking. Jigsaw was an alright film. The thing I didn't like about Jigsaw was so many like new people showing up, which is why I kind of like this one. It's just the same old. Amanda, and I think Mark Hoffman was in there. I don't remember too much, but yeah, no, I like that movie. Definitely would watch it again. Maybe if I talked with Jesus, and then if y'all remember Kevin from our Halloween episode, I'll probably get in touch with them one day, and maybe we'll do a Jigsaw or a Saw franchise episode. Hopefully that one will go well. If y'all remember it, we had a tough time with that one. So I'm gonna say we're gonna try. Anytime I do something like this, I'm just gonna try to keep them like brief, like a 1-minute synopsis. And just say, you know what, just go see the film for yourself. Or if you want to torture yourself, go watch the other films. Because, yeah, other films, like, there's no story. It's just the same old thing. It follows usually the Saw 2 complex. It's not really a Saw 2 complex. It just follows what Saw 2 was versus what the first film was, which is more psychological, like, on the edge of your seat complex. But I'm going to take another break right now. And we're going to talk about another horror film. Yeah, because what else is this episode going to be about? All right, I'll be back. All right, welcome back. So now we're going to be talking about another horror film I watched this year. And by the way, all these horror films that I'm talking about in this episode, I should have mentioned this. These were the only ones I saw this year. So that's why like you're getting like different segments of each. So I've only saw 4 horror films this year. So I'm gonna talk about all the ones I saw this year. I would say 5, but I don't really count it as a horror film. I'm talking about it with Jesus. I'm gonna talk about this other film with Jesus later, but right now this film I want to talk about is The Exorcist Believer. Now, The Exorcist Believer is I'm I would say it is one of the weakest in the franchise. Not the big weakest in the franchise, but it is one of them. Like it's more of in the middle with the two prequels of like if you're gonna rank them. And I haven't even seen the prequels, so I can't really rank them. I've seen a little bit of the second film, and that's all I needed because when you watch a little bit of it, you're just lost as hell. And then when you see people talk about it and review it, they hate this film, and within reason too, because I saw the ending and I wish I didn't see it, or it makes me not want to watch the entire film, to be honest with you. But The Exorcist Believer is not the worst in the entire franchise. I'm pretty light on the film, just not as heavily critiquing it as a lot of people are. But film synopsis is kind of pretty much similar to the original 1973 film. But this time it's two girls, which is supposed to for some reason be special. But they disappear for 3 days. They come back and they're possessed by an entity. However, like what's interesting is that like so these past all the films, all the other films will talk about the main entity is the same thing. It is Pazuzu, which is the demon that possessed Reagan in the first film. But this one is a whole different entity. How it's still an Assyrian entity, but it's not Pazuzu this time. It's hold on. If I can pronounce it, Lamashtu. It's like Aryan Mesopotamian. It's like the same region as Pazuzu from all the other films. So I appreciate that they're going in a different route. You know, like entity wise. Though they also go another route when it came to the third film. I saw Exorcist 3 better than Exorcist Believer. I'll just let you know that. But Exorcist 3 still has Pazuzu, but it also has another as a ghost called the Gemini Killer, which was played by Brad Dourif, who we all know plays Chucky in the Child's Play films. But I don't like those films. Brad Dourif is a really good actor, and I think those films just limit his acting abilities. That's where I'm at. But he does give as a Cody Leach would say, an Oscar-worthy performance. A little bit of a stretch, even though Brad Dourif is an Oscar nominee himself. So this film, obviously, The Exorcist Believer goes by David Gordon Green, who is making this a direct sequel to the 1973 film. So The Exorcist 2, The Heretic, doesn't exist in this universe, thank God. But I kind of wish that Exorcist 3 does, because it would help with the next set of films. But it was a disaster. It is semi sort of woke, and you know how I am about woke. If you don't know, I think we kind of mentioned. I've talked about it. Woke it's too much for me, yo. It's too much. Didn't do much with Chris McNeil. I thought she was gonna die. Might as well have killed her off at that point, because I'm just gonna let y'all know she gets stabbed in the eyes because she thinks she was able to expel a demon. Like, the thing about legacy sequels and the thing about sequels in general is that they forget what was the purpose of the first film, and they don't try to harken back to that first film, because I feel like if we're harkening back to that first film, we're running out of ideas, which is true on both cases. But you also need to harken back on the first film, because the first film is what led a foundation to where the films go now. However, they crumbled off that foundation, and only Exorcist 3, which I saw a few days ago before reviewing this podcast, or recording this podcast, left the tiny smidge of a stone it could on the foundation, but everything else just crumbled. I haven't seen the prequels. There are 2 prequels out there, same plot line, same, like, it does involve Father Merrin from the first film, but I don't know. I don't know too much of that history. I just know Exorcist 3 is the better sequel. It has one of the most infamous jump scares ever, which is basically like, and it is spoiled by me. I did get spoiled of it, so I didn't have that same effect as everyone else did when they first saw the film. So if y'all don't know what it is, it's best I don't tell y'all, because if I do, and if y'all go watch it, you're gonna be spoiled by the jump scare, which I was. So it didn't have too much effect on me. I actually do understand why, because like that famous jump scare in the third film, it's like it acts as like your typical jump scare, which is where like a character is spooked by the evil that is not within the film, until eventually it does get spooked by the evil within the film. So let's put it like that. It just comes out of nowhere. And I seen The Exorcist, the show, which was another direct sequel to the first film. but this one obviously did not have Linda Blair in it. This one had Gina Davis as Reagan McNeil. Also, they threw away the Chris McNeil in that show too, and she wasn't played by Ellen Bernstein at this one. At that point, she kind of made the right decision, but the show was pretty good. It just didn't like. I liked the show, but I have to admit that it wasn't going anywhere. You know, it just was like, here's a show about The Exorcist, about exorcists. Okay, so, and I don't know, as of this recording, I don't know what's happening with the sequel, if there's going to be a sequel. There's supposed to be one, but David Gordon Green was supposed to direct. I don't think he's doing it anymore as of this recording. He might not be directing the film anymore. I mean, William Friedkin, who made the original film, was on his deathbed. He died as of this recording in 23. And he said that when he dies, he's going to haunt David Gordon Green for messing up his film. Even though William Friedkin died, thankfully, months before The Exorcist Believer came out. But I understand that no matter what, a sequel is not going to live up to its original. And the original scares people to this day. The film, however, I gotta be like, I saw The Exorcist, the original, in theaters. I know some people are gonna be like, "What?" Okay, so during 2020, obviously, lockdown, all that. But when we were allowed to go about our days, when I felt like we shouldn't, but either way, when we were allowed to like go about our days, just enjoy life. Halloween of 2020, the theaters were showing some old horror films, and the Cinemark at the time was showing The Exorcist, and the last showing was 9:00, and I'm already scared for my life at that point. But yeah, so the Cinemark at that point was showing The Exorcist, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go watch it just because. I told my mom. I think my mom kind of did the sign of the cross. Like, she didn't do it in front of me, but I felt like when I told her, because I don't tell her everything in person. I just tell her by text, which is, now you guys are going to question what kind of a son I am. But I texted her. I felt like she was just doing the Santa Cross, or any like mother would, like hold rosary beads and just praying or whatever. Because my mom is scared of this film. Like, she is scared to death of this film. What's the end reason? Because she was very young when this film came out. But I saw it in theaters. I usually like to lie, and even though I shouldn't, I usually like to lie and say I saw it in D-Box, which, let's be honest, I probably would have been scared if I watched this in D-Box. And if y'all don't know what D-Box is, Cinemark has this thing where, like, you're sitting in these chairs, and these chairs rock, by the way. Like, they vibrate, so just imagine like how the experience would be if you're watching The Exorcist and these D-Box seats. But and like I said, The Exorcist is a classic. It's definitely top 5 for me in best horror films. That my personal favorite horror film. It has good cinematography, good special effects. The editing for the head spin, first time around, the first scene that has the head spin doesn't really hold up, because you could kind of see where they cut out the films. Because remember, back then they used actual film. You kind of see where they cut it out to where they did the head rotation. The second time around, when it was both priests in her head, that effect holds up to today. And it's interesting too, because The Exorcist was the first horror film to ever be nominated at the Oscars for the big categories, for Best Picture, Best Director, Best, some of the acting categories. And that's the interesting thing, is because horror has been acknowledged at the Academy Awards before, but usually in small categories. Even Psycho got Best Supporting Actress, but Anthony Perkins didn't get nominated, which is a crime within itself. Nor did the music get nominated, which is another crime within itself. Yeah, the horror has been at the Academy Awards before, but I would say ever since Silence of the Lambs, it hasn't been that profound. And even before Silence of the Lambs, like you don't see a lot of horror films that much get acknowledged at the Oscars. I mean, a lot of people were upset that Toni Collette didn't get nominated for Hereditary, or Willem Dafoe didn't get nominated for The Lighthouse. Two horror films that I like. They're not my top favorites, but they're crafted well. But going back to Exorcist Believer, it doesn't hold up as the first film did. And, like I said, Chris McNeil, just a throwaway character. She gets stabbed in the eyes, as I said. And the other thing is about, so I hate when people say, all this religion just goes back to the same thing. It doesn't. The reason why it doesn't is because, as you know, I'm a firm believer. I do believe in God and Jesus. I would closely call myself a Christian, but I'm still struggling with entirely what a Christian really is. So that's why like I don't 100% call myself it, because I feel like you don't call yourself something unless you fully know like what you're getting yourself into or what it is. But when it comes to faith and religion and God, not everything is the same. That's the problem. That was the problem I had with the Exorcist Believer, is that they try to use all these other like religions and all that, but you got to understand all these other religions believe in a different God, and I believe that all these other religions and with all their different gods are demons. That's what I believe in. Like not even demons, like just evil entities. So that's kind of where it is. So maybe that could be a plot point in the second film, that you're using all these other if they make a second film, but you're using all these other religions that are also pagan religions, which is why your exorcism did not go well this first time around. By the way, the other girl that got possessed, Hannah, I think that's what her name is. I don't think she's dead. I think like the second film, again, if there is going to be a second film, she's going to be in a coma, but she's still fighting for her life. Trying to not be dragged in hell. Because at this point, it's too late to save the franchise. David Gordon Green already ruined it, and he tried. I don't know what to make of it. If he steps down, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna step down as of this recording, he hasn't, but I'm pretty sure he will when this recording goes. As he steps down, or if he steps down, whoever they would bring after David Gordon Green, if David Gordon Green doesn't direct this anymore. But if there's a new director coming in for this film, I know I'm talking about the flat, but if a new director shows up, that director should follow how William Friedkin did it for the first film, and still try to put his own style, still try to come up with something new, but still try to build that foundation that Friedkin's film had. That's what they should go. And obviously Reagan's now back in the series, which Linda Blair hasn't been part of since that awful Exorcist 2. Again, only seeing clips and the ending, that was good enough for me, and I'm never getting those moments back. But Exorcist Believer, yeah, I mean, they could have done better, And by the way, if you're wondering why Ellen Burstyn came back, she did not want to do the film in the first place. She did the film because the creators, of the Blumhouse producers, said, "Okay, if you come do this film, we'll donate millions of money to a charity that you run." I don't know what the charity is, like something about animals or whatever. And then she agreed, and then she really should have just said, "Yeah, no, I'm not. No matter what, I'm not coming back as." But yeah, that's my thoughts. Yeah, that's just where I'm at. If there's a second one ever coming, do better, because I don't know how you can fix yourself from this. It wasn't financially successful, nor was it critically successful. But yeah, but also you gotta understand, when The Exorcist came out, thousands of exorcism films and supernatural films and all that, they're always going to be compared to The Exorcist, even to The Omen. I'm going to talk about one more film, and yeah, that'll be it. All right, and welcome to my last segment. Final film I'm going to be talking about, the last horror film that I saw this year, was Five Nights at Freddy's. And I'm just going to let y'all know, I'm not too familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's. Like I'm familiar with it, but I have never played all the games. In fact, I've never played any of the games, really. I briefly played one day, all right? And I just couldn't follow it, but I didn't realize how big the games were until I would say 5 years ago, or even before that, man. I don't know. I just never knew how popular they were until I was my first or second year of college. That's just where I'm at. But I know this movie has been in somewhat of production hell since it was first greenlit. I think it was greenlit as soon as the second or third game came out. But my thoughts on the film, it's fine. It's all right. Like I said, I'm not a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan because I'm not familiar with the original film. And if you're wondering, just in case you don't know, basically the plot is it does follow the main character of the character that we play in the game, I guess. But now he has a actual character backstory. Basically, this character, he gets a job as a night guard because he has to provide for his little sister. If not, then CPS is gonna take him away to his rich aunt, and yeah. So then he gets a job as the night guard at the Museum of Natural History. I'm just kidding now. If you get that reference. No, he becomes like the night watchman at an old broken down pizza place called Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, which was like the Chuck E. Cheese at the time. And we know Chuck E. Cheese got its own history, so yeah, then he sees that there's like all this supernatural stuff happening, especially with the animatronics. So I had to look up like what this series was about before I saw it, because I saw it with a group of friends that I work with. And to my discovery, to find out that that the animatronics within the game were all just ghost children that are possessing the animatronics. And whoever is playing Freddy is like the lead ghost child, whatever. Yeah, the film doesn't explore it that much, other than, or it does explore it. But then again, I'm talking to a guy. You're hearing it from a guy who's not familiar with the entirety of the lore, because I don't know too much about the lore. I just know that like there's a lore, and that there is a villain in the entire series, which is the guy who killed all the kids and stuffed them in the animatronics, which is how he was able to evade the police. From what I do know is that like William Afkin, that's played by Matthew Lillard, again, somebody that I met. I'm always going to hold that to anyone, unless they met Matthew Lillard too, but William Afkin, who is the villain of the entire series, like from what I've found out is that he's the father of the main character in the games, but he's the father of Vanessa, I think, this cop or other security guard, whatever, like, because it's all a setup. Basically what the film is that like William Afkin knows that the person that's being hired for the position is the brother of one of his victims. And he's afraid that this guy is going to figure it all out. So he makes sure that this guy gets the job so that the kids could kill him, so he'll never find out. But yeah, because basically the entirety of the movie is that this guy wants to know what happened to his brother. Because his brother went missing and was never discovered. And then lo and behold, he finds out the guy he's working for is his brother's killer. But yeah, I mean, I'll give credit where credit is due. Everything's practical. There's barely any CGI. There are scares in there that, they frighten me, but it's not all the time, because a lot of horror films nowadays, they rely on jump scare. I'm just going to give credit where credit's due. I mean, it's shot nice. It's edited nice. Sound design's really interesting. No one talks about sound design. It's a fine film, as I said earlier. It made enough money to greenlit a second film, which, there was already a 3-picture deal that Matthew Lillard said at Big Texas Comic Con, which I was there. He said he signed up for a 3-picture deal. I just didn't know what it was at the time. Then again, nobody did until, the trailer came out. And, Matthew Lillard was pretty good in the film. I mean, he's good as he's good as always. I think he gets lost within the character, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm saying like that's what actors should do is to be lost within their character. Supposedly they say he didn't die in the film, which is in the film they do talk about something within the animatronics, which is in both the game and the film, is that like to give the animatronics a break, there would be people who would be in the costumes. However, there's like this little spring trap within the rib area, and it has to be shut off if people are going to be in the costume. Because if not, if the spring traps are not shut off, the spring trap will crush their rib cages. So that's what happened. Somebody set up the spring trap within William Afkin's costume, and the spring trap went off, and he's dead. And he says the line that I did not know was a line in the games, which is "I always come back," or was it that I'm always coming back, or whatever? I think it is "I always come back," which I think they're just ripping off Arnold's line from Terminator. But yeah, it's "I always come back." I mean, I wasn't too familiar. Again, I wasn't familiar with the lore, so I didn't know that line was a big deal. I mean, what is it? What is it? Screen Junkie. Well, they're not Screen Junkie anymore, but the pitch meeting guy, he literally says that like, you don't think like people are not gonna understand that reference? But no, we're gonna put it there anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's not a film I'd be watching again at all. If I do, I really gotta be bored out of my mind. But I'm not a harsh critic. I'm not going to call it a bad film, as most harsh critics would call it. I just say, like, if you like scary movies, watch it. You like Five Nights at Freddy's, watch it. And you just want to watch a film for the heck of it, watch it. I mean, it has its moments. I'm not going to lie, it has its moments. But, yeah, and then that's pretty much it. I mean, that's all the horror films I saw this year. Some horror films that I really want watch in 2024. Obviously, Nosferatu, which is, I mean, I like the original 1922 version. You know, Robert Eggers directing this film. I have no doubt in my mind that this is gonna be a great film. Like, it's gonna be a great film because it's Robert Eggers. I mean, he did The Witch, which is one of my favorite horror films, definitely top 5. The Lighthouse, and of course The Northman, which is I think his first like non-horror film he's ever done. Jordan Peele, I think, is supposed to have another horror film done. We don't know too much details about that. There are a couple of others that I saw again, Terrifier 3. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it just because, as I mentioned before, if I can muster up to watch the first film, because I think the first film, from what I've seen, is the most brutal one. I'm not excited to watch the scene that I was talking about earlier. I do not want to watch it. We'll see. We'll see. Scream 7, supposedly. I don't know. We don't know too much. I highly doubt there's going to be a Scream 7 at all. But if there is, it's probably going to be a while. Probably till like 25, I believe. But and I know there's a bunch of others out there. Like one I forgot to mention too that I didn't get to see this year was Talk to Me, which is something that I was really wanting to see, but I didn't get a chance to. But yeah. I did direct 2 horror films. Well, yeah, really just one short film. One for my directing class, which I had to make it a silent film. It became a silent film, mostly because of time. But I like how it came out. I'm gonna submit it to the Texas Frightmare Film Festival, which takes place during the Texas Frightmare Convention. So if it gets accepted, it gets accepted. If not, I'm proud of my work. I had to do a 5-second short film, which is just some guy getting crawled under a bed. I mean, how much? There's 5 seconds there. Yeah, it just got dark, which is the problem. Would I ever do horror films like full features in the future? Maybe, maybe not. But who knows? Maybe I could direct The Exorcist and make it a lot better than what DDG did. And that's the problem with Blumhouse. They just they don't know what they're doing when it comes to giving good material. Because Blumhouse did a second remake of Black Christmas. All right, and I like the original Black Christmas. The other remake, I've only seen the kill count and seen a few online. It doesn't look like something I would be into. The third film, I didn't even bother. I don't know. Because, I don't know. Supposedly there's a fan-made prequel coming out. I don't know if it's released yet or not. So, but yeah, that's today's episode. All about the horror films that I saw this year. But be glad this is under an hour, because it would have been over an hour just me rambling. And like I said, it's usually boring when it's just me alone, I like when there's a co-host, I like having Jesus around. Or my first co-host one time was Esteban. I haven't had him in a while, so maybe one day I'll get Esteban back. Because, he's an interesting character, I'm not going to lie. Anyway, that's my time. Thank y'all for coming out. Hopefully you guys have a good night, day, morning, whenever y'all listen to this. Yeah, this is it.